win on Sunday, you sell on Monday. A simple tenet of racing. And it is just this belief which is found at the core of today's tilt in Springfield, Missouri. Except in a monster truck race, such a boardroom challenge may best be described as a junkyard brawl. This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the all-stars of the Penda Monster Truck Thunder Drag Series. Today, it's the Penda Monster Truck Thunder Drag from the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds here in Springfield, Missouri. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Lee, and welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the Nashville Network. In monster truck competition, the manufacturer's rivalry has long been between Ford and Chevrolet. The Chevy trucks like USA 1 and the Carolina Crusher and Taurus battling the Ford Bigfoot for the World Championship every season. But this year, the Chrysler Corporation is jumping into the fray. And tonight, they may have arrived. Here with more on that story is my colleague, Armstrong.
Gary, when the season started, Ford Motor Company, Bob Chandler and his operation literally had a lock on the monster truck field. But Chrysler Corporation, Dodge Truck Division, they saw that the exposure that these monster trucks were getting on the Nashville Network. They decided to step up and play handball with these guys, and man, they're playing it in a big way. We're going to call the Dodge guys the Three Amigos because there's three Dodge trucks on the circuit led by Fred Schaefer who really are starting to pull in these Fords. We're going to rotate over into the next round. I thought you might be interested in the countdown on the manufacturers. You got one Chevy, two Fords, and three Dodges. That's what's going down for the second round. Back to you, Gary Lee.
Well, Army, let's get right to the highlights. Now, chalk up one for Ford, your quick qualifier tonight. No big surprise, Andy Brass in Wildfoot.
Yeah, Brass with the new chassis, the new driver combination really seems to have a lock on this quick qualifying.
Well, that would set up a matchup between Andy Brass in the far lane and Dan Runte, the near lane, driving Bigfoot. Now, Runte is subbing for Gene Patterson, who was suffering from heat exhaustion last week. We'll talk with Gene later on in the show about his condition. But here, Brass takes out his Bigfoot teammate. For Dodge, the best entry was a bit of a surprise. Ken Deppy in the Dodge Express, who we saw make it to the semis last week, was third quick in qualifying. But watch this tough landing. Ken would meet up with Wayne Smozanik in round one. Now, we'd like to point out we'll be bringing you shots from our crush cam tonight. It's coming up momentarily. There it is as Deppy would advance. Smozanik red lighted and was DQ'd. We like to put cameras everywhere. Tonight we have one in the cab with Fred Schaefer's barefoot. Here's Fred going on one of his patented burnouts. Round one, Fred would draw the Executioner Chevrolet of Mark Hall. Fred goes on to round two. Hall goes on the trailer. What great shots from inside the cab of the big Dodge Barefoot. The second fastest qualifier was the Snakebite Ford, driven by Colt Cobra.
Now, Colt Cobra qualified in the heat of the day, lay down that second quick time, but that'll pay off dividends later on in the evening when the pairings come down, Gary.
Well, speaking of the pairings, the Colt would take on Brian Welsh in moving violation in round one. Welsh in the near lane.
I haven't seen that much of Welsh on the tour this year, so Colt Cobra basically had an easy run in that first round.
So it's time to drop the gloves and get ready for the junkyard brawl here in the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds. Round two action coming up right after these messages. Welcome back to the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds here in Springfield, Missouri for the Penda Monster Truck Thunder Drags. Gary Lee along with Armstrong. During the break, Gene Patterson and Andy Brass were walking the track. Now, you'll notice Gene's wearing the garb of a crew member and not a driving suit. As you'll recall, Gene was suffering from heat exhaustion in Bloomsburg, was not able to run the finals a week ago. Earlier, Army spoke with Gene about the status of his condition.
Gary, normally when we're doing an interview with Gene Patterson, he's wearing his RJS driver safety suit. But, Gene, not the case tonight. You took a pretty big lick last week. What are you doing, just sitting out for a week or so?
Yeah, we're just kind of standing on the ground. We're really watching the truck. We put Dan Runte in the truck this weekend. Last weekend, I had some real bad luck. It was real hot outside. Along with the RJS fire suits, it put it about 115 degrees inside the cab, and I suffered some heat exhaustion. Bob Chandler wanted me to set out for the Ford Bigfoot team and maybe watch what the truck's doing and maybe get a better feel of what the truck's doing. Dan's doing a good job. You know, I can't say enough. And with the help of Racing Electronics and the radio systems, we're keeping in close communications and we're doing a good job.
Hey, Gene, congratulations on being a new father. The father of Shelby Jean, daughter and mother Susan are doing just fine. Pairings now for our second round. Wildfoot against the Monster Patrol, the Dodge Express and Magnum Force, and Barefoot will take on Snakebite.
Yeah, but the neat story here is the Chevrolet. There's only one of them. Paul Schaefer represents the bow tie camp for Chevrolet as the trucks come up now and get ready to make this run. Something that happens at this point in time, as the monster trucks approach the starting line, the engines are actually killed. You notice how quiet it is? What they're doing, they're checking the kill switches on these monster trucks. And as Andy Brass will tell you, before every run, they check that kill switch to make sure it's functional.
Well, as we take a look at Paul Schaefer, let's go back now to round one and see what the Monster Patrol could do against the King Crunch Chevy. Ron Nelson driving for Scott Stevens. He's in the near lane, Schaefer in the far lane.
Nelson, the very first time in a monster truck, he goes on the trailer. That's to be expected. Meanwhile, Schaefer, with that big wing, rolls over into the next round. But where does he roll over to? Look who's laying to the
right
left.
Up against
right
Andy Brass. But just how functional is that wing?
He won't tell us, but I asked him, I said, you either trying to advertise your business or what? And he said, no, with a 10,000-pound truck, the longer you can hold it in the air or put it on the ground, the more control you're going to have over it, the better you're going to be.
He didn't get too high in the air, and he stayed on the ground a little too long. There's an unusual shot there off the crush cam.
Ever wonder
Some
what
mechanical problems.
Ever wonder what a monster truck looks like the bottom side up?
We'll take a look again. Andy Brass coming right at you, and he takes an easy win here in round two.
Boy, if you look at the area in between the jumps, it's almost like an explosion when those big tires dig in and throw that mud up in the air. It's just awesome. Meanwhile, replay comes up. How about holding it right there?
And let's go down now and talk to Andy Brass.
Andy, there seems to be a lane developing out there that's one better than the other. Tell me about that.
Well, it looks like the left lane's pulling a little bit better. You know, we're running with we're always running on different, what you could say, different ground and everything. Out here with the dirt, now we're running into gravel in the right lane, and we're running in dirt in the left. And the left lane's doing a little bit better for us, you know. Firestone's been working with us. We've been running the Firestone tires. We're trying a different cut of tires out here. It seems to be working a little bit better in the left lane for us because the dirt is a little harder packed than what we are running in the gravel on the right.
Coming up next, a Dodge shootout army, the Dodge Express, Ken Deppy, and he pulls up against Don Van Loo.
The Dodge boys come up side by side. They used to wear white hats. That indicated you were a Chrysler-powered vehicle. Right now, you got to have a bad monster truck. Donnie Van Loo out of Jeff City, Missouri with the Magnum Force. Earlier tonight, ran against a Ford out of Lafayette, Tennessee. John Moore was his victim in that first round, as Van Loo seems to be pulling in all the problems he's had in the past and has a real good year going this year. But right now, no love lost. Red Dodge against a black Dodge. The Dodge Express of Ken Deppy goes up against Van Loo. And where are they both from?
Jefferson City, Missouri. We call these the three amigos with the Dodge products. But right now, one Dodge is going to advance and one's going to go to the trailer.
The only hope one guy has is he may win and the other guy may be quick loser. But what's interesting, the Jeff City, Missouri scenario here, there's probably 9 monster trucks from that small community in the show me
right
state.
The St. Louis area.
Yeah, just outside of St. Louis. Meanwhile,
look at this. Look how close this is. Oh, a fender. A fender for the Dodge Express. Ken Deppy takes the victory. And we'll have to see just how fast Magnum Force was. You're right. He could come back as a fast loser.
Yeah. Well, when the two Dodges squared off, we knew we were going to see a Donnybrook. That's exactly what we did see. But Deppy pulled it back on the big end to take a win. However, Jeff City was the winner all the way around there, Gary.
All right, let's talk to Ken Deppy.
Donnie Van Loo is running tough out there.
Yeah, he is, Army. He run me a really tough race. It was a little bit of driver error. I come off the line kind of slow, and I knew he had me off the line. I really had to try to catch it up the end. I knew he's running a Dodge Hemi too, so the power's there, and it was a tough one.
Third Dodge Amigo gives us this shot right here. This is from the cab of Fred Schaefer's Barefoot. He'll take you for a ride tonight. This is actually going to be our first Ford versus Dodge matchup because in the far lane, Snakebite, Colt Cobra.
You know, Colt Cobra's not going to roll over for this Dodge in any way, shape, or form. You know, it's almost like Colt Cobra's coming back to its old form. Meanwhile, Fred Schaefer, He's just like a rock. He's tough no matter what happens. Two of the coolest in the sport, the young gun kid in the far lane out of Colorado, Snakebite, Ford powered, BDS supercharger for horsepower, motor sets in the front. Meanwhile, Schaefer, the old pro, he's closest to us. New Dodge Concept Chrysler Hemi engine. You're on board with Schaefer. Let's take a ride, Gary.
You just can't feel the abuse those guys take when they land, but look at that ride by Colt Cobra. A good run by the Snakebite.
Check the light in the driver compartment. The night racing shows us something we don't normally get to see. A yellow light and a red light. That's an indication that the electronic kill switch is completely functional. Something else, I want you to look at the front wheels and the back wheels on Schaefer's. Back wheels are biting, front wheels are not. They're up in the air. He's trying to run on concrete or gravel, and it's just not holding any kind of horsepower for him in the lane closest to the camera. That's why Colt Cobra drilled him literally on that starting line, Gary.
So a big round 2 victory for Snakebite. Let's go trackside and talk to Colt Cobra. Here's Army.
Boy, it's almost like a gang fight out there tonight.
Yeah, Army, it sure is. I could tell Freddie was making horsepower in his qualifying runs. He was putting down some really nice runs. Luckily, with the Snake with the Firestones, we hooked up, put down a better ET, gave me lane choice over him. I decided to take the left lane. Snake was biting hard all the way down through there. As you saw, Freddie was still making horsepower, but just didn't get by us because we had the quicker ET against him.
On a hot, muggy night, I guess you can work up a big thirst. This guy will have to hurry to get that thing refilled in time for the semis. Welcome back to the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds here in Springfield, Missouri for the Penda Monster Truck Thunder Drags. This event is put on by the same group that also brings you the four-wheel and off-road jamborees, which offer a host of participant and spectator activities, as well as great racing. You'll see it all right here on Trucks and Tractor Power. And speaking of great racing, we are ready for the semis. It is a matchup of 2 Fords and 2 Dodges.
And Gary, here's the way the pairings come down. Andy Brass and Wildfoot goes against Barefoot Fred Schaefer. Schaefer back in this thing, even though coming out of the bad lane by virtue of being quick loose in the previous round. Dodge Express, Deppy against Colt Cobra and Snakebite.
Barefoot in the near lane, Wildfoot the far lane. Now, we heard earlier from Andy Brass about the difference in lanes. Now, Fred finds himself once again in the near lane, which the drivers are calling the bad lane. Well, he's had some good luck by virtue of being the fast loser. He is back, but this could be a disadvantage. Let's see how he sees it.
A lot of loose gravel there, and the truck will spin. The tires will rotate once or twice before the truck ever moves.
So he's actually got 2 rotation head start on you.
Yeah, he does. And there's quite a bit of difference in ET.
That's why it pays to be the fast qualifier, the fast runner. You get to pick your lane.
You know, that's exactly right, and Andy Brass knows that as well as anybody else. But once again, we're back on board with Fred Schaefer. Keep an eye on the left. That's where Bigfoot is. He's sitting off to your left. Barefoot, both drivers working into the lanes. We got a race. Boy, Brass.
Oh, but good. Wildfoot, Brass all over him. He had that one almost immediately. He nailed the whole shot on that, perhaps once again, that starting line where Barefoot was spinning the tires in that loose gravel, and Andy was gone.
You can make all the power in the world, but you can't put it to the ground. It's not doing you any good. It's like swinging at the air.
A look one more time.
Yeah, see Brass is moving. Yeah, you're exactly
rear
right.
tires are spinning on Barefoot right there, and Brass is a length away in no man's land. And Brass once again will find himself in the finals. How often have we seen that?
Quite a few times. Again, look at the driver's window. Brass is in the lane and is occupying the yellow kill switch I was telling you about. That's that light in the window that you see shining all the time. If that light wasn't on, they wouldn't be running that race. Again, it's a safety precaution.
We're going to put you right in the cockpit now. Rod with Fred Schaefer from the in-cab camera over the first set of cars, no man's land, second set, and the rough landing. Let's go trackside, though, right now and talk to Andy Brass.
Andy, you know those Dodge boys are coming after you Ford boys big time. You just put one of the big guns away, though.
Yeah, that's right. You know, the Ford Wildfoot's been running good for us. You know, we've been watching Fred and his Dodge. He's always been running good. He's been pulling some good times. We knew the thing we had to do was pull a lane choice. We run a fast time, got lane choice, put him over in the other lane, played with him a little bit on the line, played some head games, pulled down through there, and the Ford pulled away on him.
Okay, now, Andy, one of the things that Andy's talking about is when he talks about mind games and everything, lane choice is so important. The way the pairings come down is the top half of the field of 12, which means the first 6 run the bottom 6. So it's to your advantage to always go quicker than the guy you're racing against. That'll give you the option to pick the lane that you're going to go into. That's exactly what he's talking about. As long as he can stay quicker than the other guys, he gets to pick the good lane. The other guy didn't get that option. Back to you, Gary.
Well, Army, now it's the Dodge Express against Colt Cobra. Now, Brass's 5.28 mirrors his quick qualifying time and is the best ET tonight. And the winner of this race has to best that mark. Unfortunately, the Dodge of Ken Deppy finds itself in the near lane. That is not the good lane to be in, so Colt Cobra has the fast lane.
Kind of reminds me of the guy that was standing at the airport when his ship came in. The Dodgers are drawing that bad lane tonight, and that is not the place to be.
Let me write that down. He was at the airport when his ship came in.
Meaning he's at the wrong place
at the wrong time. Well, the Dodge Express, Ken Deppy, the Dodgers may have arrived this evening, but so far they've not been quick enough for lane choice, and Colt Cobra will have the lane choice, the good lane at this point.
In this round, he's racing the Dodge, and he's racing the clock, trying to get lane choice in the next round. Look at this. Hard not to look at that, wouldn't it?
Colt Cobra takes it, but we'll have to check the time now. Colt goes a 5.33, so Andy will have the lane choice, and guess which lane he'll take.
I'd bet a month's pay. Your pay.
Yeah, my pay, thanks. All right, let's go back and take a look again. Colt Cobra, the far lane, gets the good jump right here. Hey, he won it right there.
Yeah, instantly. And these Dodge guys are running super. It's just that they can't stick all that Hemi horsepower.
A pair of Fords will match up side by side for the championship here in Springfield. Now let's talk to Colt Cobra.
Colt, it's almost like there's something magic in the air out there tonight.
Yeah, Army, the magic in the air is definitely Ford power. Ford power is just putting it to the ground. We got two Dodge boys we just took out. Two real tough competitors here tonight. Luckily, we scrolled past both of them going into the finals. I just hope we can keep it together and come out with a win here tonight. We really need it.
Oh, those Ford boys are happy as they've knocked out the Dodge contingent, and we are ready for the championship shootout here in Springfield, Missouri. So once again, as we take a look at Barefoot losing to Wildfoot, the Dodge Express losing to Snakebite, and it's the Bite and the Foot in the championship round. More night racing coming at you after these messages. Welcome back to the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds here in Springfield, Missouri for the Penda Monster Truck Thunder Drags. Gary Lee along with Army Armstrong. Now, Colt Cobra told us earlier, the only thing that will beat a Ford is a Ford. And that's what we're going to have in the finals, a pair of Fords. And prior to the final go-around, Army spoke with both of the drivers.
Well, Gary, the final said it's going to be a Ford and Ford show, but right now, Andy Brass, this kid out of Colorado, has got blood in his eyes.
Yeah, that's right. You know, we've been watching Snakebite here tonight. You know, he's been running not all that great all year, and all of a sudden today he's been running real good. You know, we've been watching him on his times. We pull a fast time, he'd beat it. We pull a faster time, he'd beat it again, you know. So he's been with us all night tonight. Hope we can get him off the light, pull him down through there, and we hope the Ford can do it for us.
Colt, you and Andy Brass in a final. This is worth buying a ticket for.
Yeah, it sure is, Army. Like I said, we come out, we're working hard. We finally got the truck working right tonight. Things are going our way. We drew a tough competitor with the Wildfoot. But I think after tonight's over, you're going to see just how bad this snake really is this year.
I'll tell you something, Gary. This guy believes he can win out of the lane that nobody else can win out of. He still believes in himself. He thinks he can put that Wildfoot on a trailer.
Well, he has to get the horsepower down and not spin those tires to have a chance against Wildfoot and Andy Brass.
They leave side by side. It's close.
Brass has a problem. Brass has broken Wildfoot. Snakebite will take the victory. I don't know that Snakebite could have won from that lane had it not been for a mechanical problem in Wildfoot.
I'll tell you one thing. The only thing I know is the crowd is hissing in the background, making that snake sound. That's an indication that Colt Cobra has taken a win. A well-deserved win, too. He didn't let that lane intimidate him. Watch how they moved. They a little far side. Andy got the jump on him. Colt went after him, but in no man's land, something went away on Andy Brass's
You have to finish to win. Obviously a problem with Wildfoot. Andy Brass, as they would say, dead in the water. And the victory goes to Snakebite and Colt Cobra. Right here over that first set of cars, no man's land. He coasts to a stop.
Yeah, no smoke, no explosion, no fire. Something just broke on that truck. And he took a ride right there in that second jump.
Looks like he took some abuse there as the truck comes to rest on top of the cars, but we have a winner, and the winner is Colt Cobra.
Well, Colt Cobra, what can I say, man? These people went crazy. That was just one heck of a run.
Yeah, I knew I was going to have to put it to it. Like I said, the only thing that was going to beat a Ford was a Ford. We came out here, we got thrown in a bad lane. Andy had lane choice. Like I said, I knew we were going to have to run hard, be strong. And like I said, we think we got it back together. We think we're going to do real good this year. Thank you.
There's the sign, and here he comes right at you from the crush cam as Colt Cobra takes the victory. We won't have a chance to talk to Andy Brass. He is still down there inside the cab of Wildfoot, so our congratulations once again to Colt Cobra. For Army Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee. We'll see you next week on another edition of Trucks and Tractor Power. Now here's news and exciting video release from Diamond P Sports.